Cool. Welcome everyone to this 100 Days of No Code Expert AMA with Marianne from Softr. Really excited to have her showcase the product today, and the format is going to look like this. So we're going to be getting an intro on Marianne, so her background, but also the origin story behind Softr, where it came from, and then she'll dip into a quick demo of the tool, the no-code tool, before then showing a live build and sort of pushing the boundaries of what's capable in Softr. And then we'll open it up for questions, so that our community can get to know Softr even better. So yeah, really excited for today. And without further ado, I shall pass over to Marianne to introduce herself and Softr.
Thanks a lot, Max. Yeah, really excited to be here. Thanks a lot for the invite. Yeah, maybe short intro about myself and why we started Softr in the first place. Basically, my background is in tech and product. Myself and my co-founder have been building Softr products ourselves for the past 26 years combined, and we have been building every other tech and web application in different companies like over and over, and we just saw how much repetition is there in just building simple web apps, like things like authentication, payments, messaging, and all of this stuff are very repetitive in every application you build. And on top of that, we have also, both of us have been leading technical and product teams for quite a long time, and we have been hiring engineers ourselves. So we have seen firsthand the shortage of engineers and engineering talent in the first place. And there is, of course, this like repetition as well. So at some point we really got tired of, especially me, got tired of really corporates, the bureaucracy and the slow moving pace. And I decided to start something on my own. So basically I was part of Entrepreneur First as the first journey as well, which is an incubator which brings people together to kind of start companies. And then afterwards, I kept working on different ideas and exploring different ideas. And basically, both of us, based on our experience, came to this conclusion that why not to have a platform where basically you have all of these components, all of these repetitive things given as building blocks out of the box. And then you just build on top of that what's only specific to your business or your company. And that's how we started Softr. So we are working on that for almost about a year, and the basically final goal for Softr is to really be a platform, one of the easiest and the most intuitive platform to build complex web apps. So to make kind of a comparison, you can see it as something like very simple like Glad, but really also powerful on the other hand, like Bubble. So it's somewhere in between, kind of on the sweet spot where people without really technical backgrounds, they don't need to have really huge learning curves. They can start very quickly and build entire applications using templates or using these building blocks. Yeah, so basically we have right now our website builder live and adding more and more functionality on top of that for the web app builder. Pretty soon, very excited to launch the Airtable integration, which I can give more details in the end. And yeah, I'm happy to also showcase a bit of short demo of what's possible with Softr.
Great, awesome. Sounds really good. Yeah, take it away. Yeah, really excited to see it. I've made you co-host, so you should be able to share screen.
Okay, cool. So that just share. Let me try. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, awesome. So let me just cancel this so it doesn't show up. Okay. So basically this is the dashboard after you log in, and let's start creating an application. So this is the editor where you're redirected after you create an application. Let's change the name to demo app. And with Softr, you can build multiple page websites right now. So let's have a look at the pages. So there is the pages area where you can create additional pages, the home pages by default. And there is the blogs, which is one of the key concepts we are using in Softr. So instead of saying you build your entire application or the web page one element by element using input boxes or buttons, we are offering pre-made, nicely designed components which you can use already to kind of head start very quickly. So we have several header blocks, we have hero blocks, we have feature, so different options, and lots of different blocks just in the list. And I'm gonna start just creating the websites right away. So let's say I want to have a header, then I want to have a hero where I can collect emails. I'm going to modify all of this design and content later on. I just want to focus now on what I want my website to tell the customer, to tell the user. So let's say, let's use the feature, showcase feature. Let's have another feature grid. I can also use these types of feature grid, which basically would be very difficult for when you code to implement. I'll show that when I do the preview. So I'm gonna add now a CTA, call to action button. Let's add a theme, for example. I prefer, let's say, this layout. And let's add a footer. I'm talking to the void, just let me know if you can't hear me.
You're all good.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Cool. So I have already kind of the website built very quickly, and now I want to modify this. So let's leave the logo like it is. I can upload anything from my computer. I can also pick from the library. So we have integrated pixels, images, and illustrations from Undraw. For now, we have only these two collections. We are going to add much more later. You can search for something, and let's say these are my links. And one thing that's very important, you probably notice whenever I change something on this sidebar, it immediately changes on the left-hand side. So I see the result immediately. And now let's say I want to have feature theme area. And what else did we have? Okay, let's say now we also want to have contact. I'll add the links later. Now I just want to quickly change everything. So, okay, so now let's say if I want to change all the content, I just quickly type here and you see the result immediately on the left-hand side. I can change the picture. It doesn't look nice, but so let's assume this is my picture. I can change right to bottom, so it's pretty configurable. The box, the building block. The only difference from some of the other website builders, and basically the thing that is not customizable, is not every element is possible to basically move around. You wouldn't move around this button to somewhere here because first of all, it doesn't really make sense. And like almost 80% of all the websites have really these kinds of hero blocks. So it's pretty common. So these kind of are already pre-designed blocks, which goes very nicely. And I can also change a background image. I'm not gonna do that. I will just show that. And I will delete it right away. And now I want to configure this email. When someone registers on my page, what I can do is I can add it to MailChimp. I just need to add the MailChimp URL here. I can send the data to Zapier, Integromat, or I can just simply forward this email to my own email address, to admin email address. So here on the features, similarly, I can change all the texts and change the image, left and right, background image, all of that. And here, if you see that we have subsections, I can add additional one. So it just automatically adds below. And let's just delete that and have just one block. So here as well, so I have all of these things already added dynamically, and it's just you just change the tabs easily and configure all the texts. And one thing that I didn't show is that every element, basically what you see on the page, can be changed. The design can be changed, the colors, everything. So let's say if I want to change this header, I go to styles and I see all the styles here potentially which I can change. So let's say red. It again probably doesn't look good, but I'm not the designer, but just to show you what's possible to do here. Okay, I can also change font weight, paddings, letter spacing, and whatever you can change on the text. So it's really configurable. It's, however, in the beginning, that's kind of really existing building block. If you want to customize, you can do. If you don't want to, that's completely fine. Here as well, similar CTA, and on the team, for example, here there is already 3 team members. I can add 2 more, and dynamically here I just change the name and I add a title and something about the position, and I can upload an image as well. So, and on the header, on the footer, so I can again change all the links to be the same. Let's change this, or actually let's not focus on this and rather configure the header. So now I can preview. So this is already the ready website. I didn't configure much colors and like styles. So let's do that a bit. So let's say right now, I don't like the font here or the font size, and I want to change it for the whole website. Instead of going every element by element and changing that, we have here in settings, we have default styles and colors. And this is the place where basically you can change, you can set defaults for the whole website. So let's say for font family, I want to use, I'm not sure which font looks the nicest. Let's use some kind of, let's say, okay. So, and then this is the blue by default. I want to change it to yellow and save. And I immediately on the background see the changes. So you see the buttons are changed and all the texts are changed, the titles and the subtitles. It doesn't look good, but you get the idea. So I want to add one more component to just show what other integrations we have. So let's say if I'm building a startup which sells some kind of product, I can configure Stripe already. So I can configure what kind of tires I have. It can be multiple, it can be one. And on the buttons, I can define either to redirect to a specific URL or Stripe checkout. So here I need to configure Stripe on my own account and then enter all the IDs, and that's it. And then you can charge your customers. So, so now let's create another page. So this is the home page, and I want to have another page called contact. And when I create a new page, by default, it already knows that there is this header and footer, and by default, it would use it already. And let's say here I want to have custom form. So I'm going to use this one. And again, I can configure all the backends, all the like styles, colors, everything. And on the form, so this is the custom form recent integration we made. You can change any field. You can delete any what you don't like. You can add new fields. So let's say I want to add a new field here called I have a first name. Let's add a new one called last name. And okay, I can also put required or not. And now I want this to be the second one. Okay, cool. So now what I can do is, I'll do this a bit later, but just to show, I can add all this data to MailChimp. I can send it to Zapier, Integromat, or just send simply to an email. So let's say now we have the page. I want to preview this again. And okay, this is the page. This is my home page. And now I want to connect these links to contact page. And one thing to notice is that here also in the editor, you can right away see how it looks like on other layouts. So it's automatically responsive. That's one of the key things that Softr already does for you. You don't have to mess around with all the other layouts. It automatically creates the correct kind of design for you. Alignment. Okay, so can you hear me well? Everyone is listening?
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm just not seeing anyone, so it feels like talking to a void. Okay, I'll just open at least.
You're all good. All good.
Okay, so now let's connect this header to the other page. So let's say for the future, I want to just scroll this. When I click on a future, I want to scroll these 2 sections. So this is one of the things that we also did because lots of users asked for it. And before it was just manually, you had to enter manually. And now you just select simply. So here it scrolls to a section. So let's say I want to scroll to this feature 1. On the theme area, I want to scroll this to theme area. I can also change the titles and the header titles, by the way, for each section. I can also use external URL, but let's not do that now. And for contact us, I want to link this to the contact page. So open page, contact. Okay, let's check it now. Let's preview and see everything works. Okay, so when I click on feature, it links to the feature, it scrolls to the feature page. I'm now on the theme page, theme section, sorry. And when I click on contact us, it brings me to the other page. Okay, so I have my website and let me see what else I can show you. So one more thing, which is pretty important, is integrations. So here on this page, you can see there's lots of integrations. So Airtable coming soon. I'll talk about it later. There's Crisp, Drift, Facebook Pixel, Analytics, all of the most important integrations that most of the website builders provide and most of the people need. We already have this here and we are adding regularly more and more. And also one more thing to show here, you are able to add custom code on the head on top of your page and below your page in body as well. One important block that we have is, which really opens up a lot more customization possibilities, is we have custom code. Basically, this is the embeddable widget, code widget, which you can add anywhere on the page. So you can either add it on top, below, or in between of the page. And then you can add your code here. So basically this allows you to have anything on the page. If you don't see any block or any design that you want to, you can do it yourself here. Okay, so let's remove this. And probably a small thing here as well. You can move blocks, move up, move down, delete. You can duplicate a block. It's just very handy. Same with pages, you can duplicate and you can open settings and change also the SEO stuff. There's also SEO integration for the whole page. That's probably the main thing for the website. And one more thing to show on my dashboard, I have possibility, so these are my applications. I have possibility here to duplicate the project. So basically, if I have a website and I want to create something similar or use the same kind of blocks, I can just duplicate that. And in Softr as well, you have the possibility to build your application with lots of different users. So let's say you have a team of 3 people, and you can add contributors to your project, invite them to work on your project as well. And there is also transfer ownership, which we are going to roll out soon. This is especially nice for agencies or for freelancers who are building for their client. They can start building, and then they can transfer the ownership to the client, so the client continues using, building, and then paying for it. So one more thing that I want to just show quickly is the integration to Zapier. So basically, the custom forms really enables really custom and powerful data submission to any service due to Zapier. So let's say right now we want to submit all this data that the user fills in to Zapier. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a Zapier link here. So I need to go to Zapier. So let's go to Zapier and let's make a new Zap. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this already, with using Zapier, but let's just quickly do that here. So I'm gonna catch the hook. So we need to copy this custom webhook URL, go back to Softr, put in here. When I put the correct URL, this info appears and there is a link here. Click here to send test data. Now I need to send a test data, so Zapier catches it. Okay, so now test trigger, and I get the request. We found a request, nice. And it contains all the names. So this was the first name there, last name, email, everything that I have sent. This is just a test data. And now I need to continue. So here already we have the correct configuration. So now what we need to do it says, after you have clicked the link above to send test data, go to Zapier and add your second app. So let's say we want to send all this data to Airtable. And we want to create a new record as soon as someone submits a message. And here, yeah, this is my account already created. So I need to choose the base in Airtable. That for me is going to be a Softr demo. I have created, let me just show here. I have created a Softr demo base with exactly same fields which I want to be submitted and entered here. And the name of the table is messages. So I'm going to use messages. And now I'm going to map Airtable fields to my field which are coming from Softr page. So first name, that's going to be name, last name here, email. I have the phone number here. So it's basically on our custom form, you have almost all the fields that Airtable provides. There is just attachment missing and 1 or 2 small ones. And we are going to add that also. Company name, company size, message. I'm going to match this to message. Okay. Now continue. And this is our test message which we have sent from Softr. Now I'm going to test and see if this got entered in Airtable. Okay, awesome. So this is already in Airtable. And now I'm going to turn on the Zap so it works automatically. I don't have to manually do this all the time. And now when I publish, so let's publish our application. So this is the second page. If I don't like the name of my subdomain, which is pre-generated by Softr, I can also change it, demosoftr.io. And now, sorry, after changing, I need to publish this again. Okay, because I changed that already. Okay, so now we should have it. So this is our first page. And now let's go to contact. And again, here, all the fields I can enter whatever I enter, and I can change all the fields also from Softr. So let's say, for company size, we have also a drop-down possibility. I'll show it in a minute. Okay, so let's submit. And it should be here. Okay, so that's here. And basically all of this data was sent to Airtable. And similarly, I can also choose any other service to send my data to. And in Softr as well, just to show the custom form fields, what you can choose here, because we didn't go through that. So you have email, single line text, long text, URL, drop down, phone number, and that's it. Okay, so that's mainly it. And happy to take questions if there are any. Here, just as a helpful information, there is the dashboard you can go back to, your account and billing information, and there's documentation as well, which we keep updating. So it's not too much yet, too much documentation, but we keep updating and adding more and more guides and tutorials. Okay, that's basically it. I'm gonna stop sharing. Max, let me know if I should stop, I guess, and then.
Great, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, that was really thorough and sort of gave us a good 360 perspective on Softr. Thanks so much for that.
Actually, one thing that I forgot, which I would like to show if that's interesting, is what's coming. So as I mentioned previously, one of our major changes that we are going to release soon is Airtable integration, because Softr, ideally, like long term, it's not a website builder, but we are really in a web app building space. And the first thing we are doing is Airtable integration and having Airtable as a backend, because most of the people already have their bases, their data, and mapping that to the front end. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of that very quickly as well, which is not now deployed on. It's actually not deployed on live yet, but I'm gonna show you on the working environment.
That'd be great.
Let me share my screen again.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so this is my test environment, and first of all, one thing to start with is we are adding more templates, templates functionality, which I mentioned in Twitter. So when I add a new application, I would be able to choose from lots of different templates, and instead of starting from scratch, because that's something that lots of people wanted to have. So let's start from blank right now. And here show you, let's say I want to have a header, and for the Airtable integration, I'm going to have something like listing here for the web app. So there's going to be lots of other building blocks offered here, but let's use this listing for now. So for listing, basically this is going to be the layout. So I can choose, there's going to be lots of different layouts. So let's say I'm choosing this, and here I can configure all this data that you see on the left side. So let's check, let's find the base URL. Let's find the base URL for this base. So now we need to go to API documentation in Airtable. We need to select messages table, list records, and we need to copy this URL until end of the messages, which is the name of the table. And now let's go back to Softr. We enter this here, and then when it's correct, all the data appears. So basically, it's just a quick sneak peek, not the whole functionality functions yet end to end. But what I want to show is you can map dynamically all the Airtable base items you have, and that's created by you, everything here to this page. So let's say you can map here the image. Let's say you have an image field in Airtable, and you have the title, subtitle of your application. I'm going to be able to select anything I want here. So it's not static, but it's dynamically defined by you. The tag as well, which is this description, and lots of different like fields here, what would be provided in the layout. And then on the button, so the button doesn't really show up. Let's preview. So this is an example of a sliding list. So when I click on it, there's going to be a button. And now in order to configure where the button takes me that's here. So I can say, let's say I'm creating a job board. Apply, and I can open a page, scroll to a section, and then here there is going to be also possibility to open a modal, a pop-up, or just open another page, and the other page can be the detail page, job details page, which is another blog that will be offered to you. And one more important thing as well, you can select what to sort with, like the items per page. You can define as well dynamically the search upon which fields are these going to be searchable, and also filters. So here right now on top we have all these filters like all, remote, tech, SaaS. Right now this is not mapped, but what you can do is you will be able to define your own filter. So let's say you can have multiple, it doesn't have to be one, you can have like 5 different filters, and then you're going to be able to choose where these filters will be positioned, whether it's on top, on the left, on the right hand side, and you will show those as list like this or as a drop down. So it's pretty configurable, and lots of other parameters you can choose from. But basically it's going to say, I want to filter this by the remote field. And this field will be defined on this element. So you will define which options you want to filter with. And that is what's going to be showing up here. Hope that makes sense. And one more thing as well, which we don't have, again, yet on live, is if I have a field, for example. Let me just refresh this. So this is the Airtable, and we have also additional functionality like hiding blocks. So here you see this small icon. When you hide, it's going to be visible to you, but it's not going to be published and visible when you preview or publish. So that's a really handy one as well, because when you want to have something still work in progress and you don't want to publish it necessarily, you can just hide it, and yeah, it stays there for you to work later on. That's it basically. Hope that makes sense. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, you're all good. Yeah, that was great. That's really exciting. So when are you sort of planning to release that, Mariam?
Yeah, so the templates and the hiding and some other functionality is going to be in tomorrow or the day after. Okay. And Airtable is planned for end of August, so pretty soon, in about 2 weeks latest.
Awesome. Sounds good. We just did a question in the chat sure. Regarding, are you able to upload your own images to the site instead of the ones that are sort of pre-published or that you can pick from, as you were showing?
In the website, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just share my screen again. I think I didn't upload in. So this is the live version I created. So here, if I go to homepage. So here on the page, let's say I want to change this. Yes, definitely. You can upload your own file, which just opens from your computer. And then this is just handy for you to choose from if you don't have your own file, but definitely you can do that. And also you can upload your own logo. Yes.
Great. Sounds good. Yeah, that's perfect.
Miriam, I'm sorry, guys. Hi, I was on another call, so I was trying to mute out just so I could finish up and wrap up the other call because it ran over. I've been watching though. Do you have other payment integrations? I noticed you guys named Stripe. Do you have other payment integrations or any situation where they can write like an open API for any other payment operator or fintech operator that might be coming in? Just because you guys are I'm assuming in Europe, and like we're US based, so sometimes we have different global currency payment partners and such.
Yeah, that's a good question. For now, we don't. We only have Stripe, but in the future as well, we are going to allow external API integrations. So basically that could open up possibility to integrate any other external like payment systems. But for now, we don't. No.
There's one, I'm trying to think of the name of it. I'm going and looking right now. I just integrated it into one of our sites. It is, I want to say, let me see if this is the one really quick before I tell you. Yeah, this might only have to do with shopping cart integration. So this may not strictly just be for payments, but we use this on one of our other sites. It's Equid, ECWID, and it allowed us to integrate. So most of the sites here, like if somebody's using a web builder, most of the sites require you to, well, they either have proprietary relationships with Square or Stripe. So I think that one is an open commerce where it allows you to use both. And then of course, all the other sites typically have your normal payment integrators like your Visas, your MasterCards, your PayPals, Apple Pay, Google Pay. So that stuff kind of comes a la carte. You'll have to look into it though. It's ECWID. I think it's a US company. And they were one of them that we found that allowed us to use both of those payment operators and get kind of around a loophole where most of the stuff on one of our platforms is primarily Stripe based only, but my client's already a Square user because they're an in-person user as well as an online user. But I don't know if that's only in effect to like an e-commerce situation. So I don't know if it would have anything to do with like somebody selling a software as a solution versus like an e-commerce platform or product or service. I don't know if it's a differentiator between a product or a service.
Okay, yeah, nice. I will take a look on that. Can you maybe share it in the chat?
Yeah.
The name in the chat?
Yep, no problem.
Thanks. Yeah, as we progress more with web app functionality, definitely we are gonna need to add for sure the MasterCard and all the other integrations. But for now, we have a lot more other things that are on top of the roadmap right now because of like just to have the web app functionality. And then yeah, definitely that's also in the roadmap.
Well, you guys could probably easily add PayPal without much integration, right?
Well, PayPal is a bit more complicated than Stripe.
Over there, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm speaking on behalf of like how easily I can do things, but we're also in the US. So like restrictions and regulations might be different for us versus you.
Not really just because of Europe, but just technically. Like Stripe is much more configurable and it provides the API nicely. And that's the most like the easiest payment provider to quickly integrate with.
PayPal does too, if you do it under a business. So assume most of your clients are going to be business sites. PayPal actually has a nice open API code that you can put in for payment processing and receiving payments. Like I'll give you an example. We did, and it may not apply to somebody building your pages, but we built a page for a law firm and they have several partners, but only one of their partners takes a retainer and he wanted to do it through his service PayPal account. So we wrote code into his page only for him to receive payments and then the rest of the site takes payments elsewhere. But you can inject code with, and I don't know, with PayPal, and that might be an easy integration to use.
Yeah.
I personally don't use it very often outside of shopping carts. This was kind of the first client that wanted to use it, so.
Yeah, that's a good note. Yeah, thanks for that.
No problem.
That
was it.
Oh, awesome. Just going to ask, if you had any other questions, you're all good.
Yeah, the only other thing is, I gave you, if you go up in the chat box too, I think I sent it to you maybe privately, I gave you my email address. I'd be interested in showing some of our interns right now that I'm making learn no code, low code platform stuff with. They write content for us for some of our younger kids that we teach. So this is simple enough where we might be able to teach this at a younger, setting. It'd be interesting for you to put together maybe like a demo or something, like a screen by screen demo. And I'm sure I haven't fully looked through the website yet, but you might start to put up tutorials or something on your website as well.
Yeah, we are adding more one step at a time, but we don't have many yet. We don't have many tutorials just showing as demos, but definitely let's catch up offline and see how we can potentially work.
Yeah, I mean, we're showing them different platforms that are being supported by venture groups or accelerators. We're trying to get them, like my background's in entrepreneurships and startups, and I also have been doing development myself for many years. So we have a company right now that focuses on education, so basically ed tech. And one of the things that we're really trying to impress upon them in the region that we're in is more of the low code, no code technologies, just to get them excited about it. They're easier to use. With the relationships with startup founders, it's easier to work with you and to do some fun stuff versus like trying to get into big corporations. Like I don't want to say the only, we've been very blessed. We have huge partnerships. We have Dell partnerships. We have some stuff with Apple. We have Google. We have Adobe. But we're really focused on getting these students empowered and using more of these resources, and especially getting them excited about alternatively, like entrepreneurship as a career. So a lot of the communities we focus on are underserved communities. So most of these students don't have opportunities to go to college. So if we do deal with college level students, we're more like a finishing product for them. We're teaching them things that they don't necessarily know about if they're not in the tech world every day like I am. So like I stay on top of everything with all of this inside of no code, but a lot of those students are used to like Java and Python and classes on coding. They're not really using this stuff to the fullest extent yet. So we're just getting different levels, different students working on these in several different areas. But yeah, I definitely would love to chat offline as well. So I like what you guys are doing. It's really cool. And I'm always, of course, happy to support another female entrepreneur. So
thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for the questions. They're really great. Cynthia, I just saw you came in. Have you got any questions for Mariam?
Oh, hi. Yeah, I hopped on a bit late. I had a meeting before this, but I actually didn't have any questions in particular, specifically. But I mean, when I don't know about your name, but the lady who was just speaking, I'm a student myself, and I'm actually like taking a year off this upcoming year, and wondering. I mean, like recently got into the no code and everything, and reading about it and everything about that. But like I'm contemplating between, since I'm taking a year off, learning more technical, like picking up a language, or actually taking the time to use like no code tools to build something functional, like something I'm contemplating in between. But I just want to hear your guys' opinions and thoughts on this.
I don't want to hijack the call. Can I answer her really quickly?
Please do.
Hey, Cynthia, this is Ramona. I'll send you a quick message. We have a ton of interns that we're working with right now that are at a college level that are working in a bunch of our startups. And so some of the startups are using the lower code platforms on some of the applications, but not every application is a good fit, meaning some of the startups have really complicated things that we need to build out for them. So some of the lower to no code applications won't get that business profile or that project far enough. It'll get us certain aspects, but it may not carry us 100%. Like we're doing one right now where we developed all of the wireframing and screening in Figma. And then basically we're developing in Node and React right now in JS. So we're taking our beta model that's finished and then putting it onto our E2 servers over on AWS. So it's definitely not low to no code in the sense where we wrote the code behind it, but working with something like Figma is considered a little bit more no code platform, if you will. So we did it 50-50. But I'm definitely happy to chat offline to give you some suggestions or to see if there's any projects that might fit with your background that you want to work on with us. But I think just using resources like what Miriam developed, because, you know, the more that she grows, the more partnerships that they get, they're going to integrate all of these cool automated response partners like Zapier, like Airtable, like all the things that are time consuming for anybody when they're developing applications. Like they have to figure out how to integrate all these different components like mailers or user information, data analytics. So, but I hope that helps, but I'll definitely send you something so you have my contact information.
Yeah, thanks so much. That was really helpful.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks for that. Yeah, that's a good point though, Simply. I think you yeah, I think you'd be wise to double down on no code over the next year. But I guess I'm coming from a position of bias, so yeah, I'm probably not the most neutral person on that. But I guess I just had a couple of questions, Marianne, before we hit the hour. Firstly, just wanted to know whether there'd be a MailerLite integration soon on the horizon, just as I use that personally.
Yeah, so we do plan MailerLite, and we have some others also in our list. It just hasn't been higher priority because there hasn't been too many requests. But if we have someone or customer requesting that's just going to take very short amount of time for us to really integrate. It's pretty quick. Yeah.
Great, perfect. And in terms of, do you ever foresee having like a content management system, so where you can have blogs in the site? Is that something on the horizon as well?
That's a good question. Actually, right now we do have some people building blogs, and the way they do it is they just build a website. They just build a page, create a page. They add text blocks, image blocks, and they kind of construct their blog, which is not the most optimal, but they already do that. And on the other side, yes, like we are thinking whether we should introduce additional like blogs as on its own, or that should be based on the database or the backend like collections that we offer. Because once you have collections, whether it's in Airtable or inside Softr, basically blog itself is just a list of information, right? So you can store this information as collections and then show it on the page. So yeah, definitely that's something on the roadmap. It's just a question whether that's going to be part of the Airtable integration, and yeah, alongside allowing also building blogs, not blogs, but blogs, or it will be a separate as a section, like you just go there and create your own blog. But
yeah, that makes sense.
We can discuss offline, like what's your timeline with that, and we'll see what we can do.
Awesome. Sounds good. So I'm just firing away some questions, but I noticed on one of the templates, sort of in the top right hand corner, it said like, I guess it was just trying to give the perception of a like a templated site, but it said login, and I just wondered whether there is plans to allow like people to log in and maybe this is probably a push, but like take like logins and integrate with something like, I don't know, MemberStack, where you can have your can shield content according to like their tiers and stuff.
That's a very good question. That's actually one of our plans after Airtable. So the thing is that because we plan to have all this functionality as part of Softr, we didn't really go on with allowing MemberStack integration, because that would just be part of Softr and it will be really secure, because that will already be securely integrated in our infrastructure. So what would that allow? That would allow gated content, so you could create pages which are hidden behind login, sign up, and define what content you want to show your customers. Exactly. That's basically one of the basic next steps for the web app functionality. But that's coming right after Airtable integration.
Great. Sounds good. And just one final question before we wrap up, unless anyone else has got any questions. Just wanted to touch on the Airtable integration and what what do you think are going to be the most exciting sort of use cases that come out from that new feature?
Yeah, so with Airtable having as a backend, you can basically build any type of list with its own details page and with its own like actions. So things like job boards, directories, very simple like marketplace where you have something, you show a listing, and then someone clicks on a listing, they open the detail page or as a pop-up, whatever, and then on the listing page they can define buttons and actions. So things like let's say I want to apply for a job or I want to book something, and there will be also possibility to do to favorite some items, to kind of like, so some of the social related functionality as well. Yeah, so basically those would be the use cases.
Awesome. Cool. That sounds really good. I think we'll leave it there. It's been really good to find out more about Softr. It sounds like there's some really cool things in the pipeline that are coming very soon. And we've obviously had a little glimpse into that today as well. Is there anything before we wrap up, Mariam, that you'd like to say, or I'm sure you can take it offline as well, but if there's anything you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, probably just for everyone who hasn't been, who missed the session, just feel free to drop me a message on the site. There is a chat, small chat. You can just message me there if you have any other questions based on the demo. And really excited to work with the community, because I really like and find the community so useful and so helpful. And I think that's really one of the key aspects of no-code movement really taking off, because there's so many excited and really helping people, each other in the community who are just building stuff and moving the no-code movement forward. I think it's really exciting also for us to really have, when we have the web app, to have more possibility of and see what people can build with Softr.
I just have one more quick question, if it's okay, Mariam.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you can discuss this, because I know you're part of a VC group and I know they're in the UK. What's your plan or their plan for you to migrate more into the US? Have you guys discussed that at all? I don't know much about your VC group, so I don't know like if they don't even focus on US year run or what that looks like for you.
I'm not sure I really understood the question, because like if you mean the product is just like online SaaS platform, right? It's available to, whether it's people, actually 2/3 of our user base is from the US, so it doesn't
Gotcha.
really I mean, the servers that we are using is on AWS, and it doesn't really matter whether people are on the US, on Europe. In the future they are also going to be able to choose where they want their servers to be located, so that's really not an issue. And
No, that answers my question. I wasn't sure
Okay.
where you guys were also hosting, what servers you were hosting with. Like an example is Bubble also hosts with AWS. So like they're able to integrate across borders, if you will.
Right.
The only thing we face sometimes with our applications really boils down to, like I mentioned earlier, with like the fintech payments and things like that, just because of the Patriot Act and all that fun stuff when it comes to banking. But I just wasn't sure if you guys had another path for marketing or anything that you were doing separately for the US versus like global at all.
No, not really. It's going to be the same. We will just allow our customers to choose where they want their servers to be located.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Awesome. And just that reminded me as well. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions on no code or the 100 Days of No Code community, and whether you want to join that or anything else, feel free to contact me. Yeah, thanks so much for coming, guys, and hopefully see you at some point on another AMA or just on Twitter. But yeah, thanks so much, guys, for coming, and hopefully see you next week potentially. But yeah, cheers, guys.
Thanks, Max. Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, all right. Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you,
Bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.